All right, what up? It's Ruben from TGE, and in today's video, I want to go over the tools that I shared with Sewell, who was a struggling trader and then grew his account to $100,000 by using these tools to help him get to that point. And I'm going to share that with you so you could do the same thing too and also make money in the stock market. But before I get to that, I want to start with the wins of the day. Today was a great day. If we look at the wins inside the private Telegram group, we closed a lot of the positions here. SBET, we sold some of the profits. We took some profits here. We got in at 19.32 per share, and we sold around the $28 marker, making it a 40% gain. We still believe in SBET in the long run. Zeta, we sold everything here at 15% return. We love Zeta still in the long term, but this was a short-term trade, so we closed our position, took our money. I'll be looking for another position on this one. MU was an options play. We took it from $7.70 to $10.78, making it a 40% return in ROI gains. So awesome day or awesome start to the week. And so we finished that up. And then in the community, let's go to community. Let's see what comments are up here. All right, so Hunter F2823 said, digging the buckets. I'm open to another account just for my leap trades. I think that's a great idea. This is something that we talked about in the last video where we called this separations of concerns, where a lot of traders struggle to see consistent results because they mix their account with too many buckets, and the buckets represent short-term day trade, medium swing term, long swings like leap contracts or shares, and they all mix it in one account, and then they have this wild, inconsistent result in their account P&L. They end up doing this, where it's account one, account one, account one, account one. And instead, what I do by default, and what I was talking about in the last video, is that I actually have separate accounts, thus making it more consistent on a per account basis. And then you have a total net pool of capital. Let's say you have $200,000. Okay, main fund is going to have, I like to split it like this, 50%, and then fund two is going to be 25%, and then 25%. And then that way, because every single different type of expiration, or the shorter the time frame is on the trade, right, it's going to bring a different type of win rate. It's going to bring a different type of risk versus reward, different expectations. And so if you put all the buckets within the same account, you're going to be kind of everywhere. And it's going to feel like you're not making any money. If anything, you'll probably be losing money because you'll treat all the trades the same. And that's not how that works. Okay. So that's what he was referring to. But in today's video, I want to talk about the tools. Okay. I think the tools are going to be really important. And today's up-to-date year-to-date performance on my main fund account is about 69%. Okay, so definitely reaching a new high here. Probably today I'm up another 2%, so I'm probably going to be over the 70% year-to-date performance. Wonderful year. I'm scaling down even more and more as the account grows and stuff, because I already won for the year, so there's no need to continue over risking on the account. But SBET was definitely one of the winners. Celsius is definitely one of the winners. Just awesome trades. Okay, let's talk about tooling. I want to talk about the tools that we use first here. Okay, now, in my opinion, when it comes to charting here, I'm actually going to charting. The tool I use is TradingView. Okay, there's a couple of reasons for this. I truly believe that TradingView is superior when it comes to having to do your charting. Okay, I think of it as the Apple of charting software tools. It's very easy, very intuitive. You use your mouse a lot to kind of zoom in, zoom out. There's a lot of hotkeys that once you learn them, it's really easy. Like I use an Apple. If I use Option R, I can automatically just reset the chart. Very easy to do snap-ons. Okay, like I believe Webull doesn't even have snap-ons like this does. So if I create a grid, I need to snap on to the top of a wick or the body. It'll just snap on there. It makes it really easy to just kind of align the horizontal line or whatever you're using into wherever specifically. You could toggle it off too, and then you have more granular control. Um, they also have great tools like this little ruler. So, for example, like if we take a look at SBET, which is one of our favorite trades, I can see this. I like to use this ruler to figure out how much percentage can I possibly get here for the next potential expansion. It says 54%. Awesome. Stuff like that is really helpful. Or to the downside if I'm shorting. They also have great tools like long and short projections. So I can kind of see like the risk versus reward. I preach about risk versus reward all the time. And I say, okay, it's always about risk versus reward. Oh, great. If we make it the low of the day, this is 1 to 4.82. It says right there. And we have an upside potential of 53%, a downside of 11%. So we're making almost like 5x than what we would lose, right? Like I can visually see that very quickly. Now, one of my favorite parts about TradingView from all this is now I don't use a lot of indicators, but I'm really happy that this exists because this is what makes this tool. TradingView has a strong community support for this specific reason, and this is something I don't know if you ever noticed there's a tool called WordPress. This is why WordPress is one of the most popular tools to build websites just in general, because they have the same thing, which is called a plugin hub. Now, for TradingView, it's called all right. So in TradingView, it's called an indicator hub, right? So you have a bunch of indicators here. Like if you're into ICT, you could just look for your ICT. You can see there's a lot of people, a lot of private organizations and just individual, just programmers out there making these custom plugins or custom indicators for you to use and try to optimize and make money in the stock market. Now, because of this is one of my favorite parts because they can simplify a lot of things that you might not want to take a look at. So, for example, and you can also take a look at the source code if they allow you to do that. Some of them do and some of them don't. But anyways, it's very, very neat. This is one of my favorite parts about TradingView. But besides that, I don't use a lot of indicators. I just use, one or two at the most. And then I use my tool Gaxtron to kind of figure that out, but which I'll go over that here in a bit. All right. So charting tool is definitely important. So TradingView is the one I recommend. Brokerages. Okay. I've tried a number of them. And the first one I would recommend is Fidelity. Now, by default, Fidelity is my go-to. The screenshots that you always see here on my year-to-date performance, that's a Fidelity screenshot. Okay, Fidelity, it is by far, in my opinion, the best customer support, which is important because if something bad happens, like the whole Robinhood time when that whole GME thing happened, you can get on the phone call with Fidelity and figure out what's going on with your money. And that is so powerful. You can't even imagine. When everybody was trying to get a hold of Robinhood and you have to email them, that is a nightmare. Okay. So I wouldn't recommend Robinhood. I wouldn't recommend. I tried Charles Schwab's. Not my favorite. Customer support is actually kind of rude there, and so I don't like them. So Fidelity is definitely good, and then also the fills seem to be some of the best fills than other brokerages that I've seen. Now, another one that I would recommend because I use it for my small accounts is Webull. Now, I like Webull because of just the user interface and the user experience is also superior, much better than Fidelity for sure. But for example, the desktop app is awesome. They got a very good mobile app, and you could do conditionals on your stop losses. So it's not just based on if you're doing options, it's not just based off the option premium, but you could also do it based off of the stock, whether the price is up or down or whatever the case is. So this is a really good feature. Another thing that I'm trying now, which I'm not a fan of because they're so behind, is Public. Public has a long way to go. One of the things that I liked about them is that they'll give you money rebate for trading. So they'll pay because you usually have to pay fees for every trade execution, and so they'll pay you for trading on their platform essentially. Now that was cool, but they have a lot of things that I do not like about them. They're very far behind in tooling. Like Webull is a far superior brokerage than Public. I am using them. I'm not going to say that they're the worst, but I'm not going to say that I would recommend it for day trading at all. Definitely not for day trading. For swing trading, like medium or long term, they're fine, and that's about it. Okay, so those are the brokerages. Now, the other tool that I recommend is Gextron. Now, Gextron is a tool that I built, and I am biased on it. And I've said that several times because it's that awesome. Okay, which is exactly how I was able to get SBET at, again, 40% return, or 40% gains on just shares, 50% gains on Zeta, 40% gains on MU. And I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. Okay, so this is Gextron here. Where's my face? And so what Gextron does is it shows you future support and resistance levels and also future price targets based on a specific expiration date. And that is so powerful, okay? Because a lot of traders look at the left-hand side to make money, but that's not how you make money. To make money is on the right-hand side, which this is the unknown. And the way you figure that out, or the way Gextron figures it out, is that it uses the option Greeks and implied volatility, and it calculates whatever like you can see every execution that's coming in here for the equity tape. You'll usually see a lot more here with option tape and any unusual option orders. It grabs all that stuff, calculates it, and then comes up with whatever the results are. Now, this is really simple. Okay, I'm going to show you something. I think I'll show you with MU first. I'll do Zeta. So, or S. Yeah, this is Zeta. Let's do SBET because I'm looking at SBET. Okay, SBET's really, really simple. So right now, SBET has hit this, okay, 26.5. So I had to update my lines here. Okay, so when I got into SBET, this is a very simple trade. Okay, because it helps me identify where does bullish sentiment start. And the way we do that here is that I just say, like, what's the first positive bar, and it has to have a minimum of 4, or a minimum of 3 to next to the right of it. So this is 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. This is the first positive, and then 1, 2, 3. So that's P-Trans. Now at the time, P-Trans was all the way to $19, and max reward is actually $25. Okay, that's where we're at the moment. So we hit the target, right? What this is telling me, max reward is the tallest positive bar, which is the biggest resistance area. And what this is telling me is that price can potentially go there, but there might be a lot of resistance there. So these are the daily levels, right? I just marked those out. Now I'm just gonna show you real quick how I would update this. So 20 is no longer 19. 19, we are far away from that. Now the update is 26.5. So I actually have to update this line. I have to move it 26.5. And this is, again, just showcasing even TradingView why it's so easy. I just double click on that, and it'll take you to the coordinates that I can update very, very easily. I don't have to drag and drop or anything like that. Okay, and then I have 30 here. Okay, so that's the next. And I like to label these as max reward. Max reward makes it really simple. And then also there is a support level here at 25. So this is still a level of support here because there's a bar there, a tall bar. So I'm just going to say AOI, area of interest. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Now, vice versa. If I'm in the long trade, I have to figure out where is N-trans level. N-trans is what we call inside the Telegram group like the start of a bearish transition. You can see here right now we're a call dominator, so we don't have anything to worry about at the moment, but that would be 23, right? This is the first negative bar, and then 1, 2, 3 negative bars. So 23 is N-trans level here, so I'm just going to mark that. So that's the update. So how would I get out of this trade? If the trade goes below 23, then I would probably get out of the rest of the shares here. Besides that, now that's how we set resistance levels. Okay, and resistance levels are really important. You can see here we're struggling to get above this 2650 area. Okay, so now future projections, we go into this tab called expected move, and there's columns here, and all I had to do here in Gacktron is like if I want to figure out the expected move for the end of the month, it says 35 right now. Okay, that's what Gacktron is telling me. So all I do is just draw a line here. I say, and I'll say 35. Double click on that, and then I will change the color here of the line to yellow, and then I will label it as well as MEM, monthly expected move. And that's it. Now I have targets of what is possible for SBET to hit by the end of the month. That way, I know what is in the way and what are realistic price targets that I can expect by the end of the month, either from now until the end of the month. And so this is how we like get into trades, right? If we're above P-trans, get into a trade because it's the start of a long position. Now we need a target by a specific expiration date. So now we have expectations, and you can see 35 is the expected for the month. So that's probably where I'm going to start selling another portion of my shares there. And that's it. Like that's how easy it is with Gacktron. Like there's no hard work. Now we use unusual option orders to figure out, okay, there's some call flow coming in. It's still bullish. It's not over yet. We still like it for the long run. And you can see here that if we get past 30, Gacktron will tell you like there's no resistance after 30. 30 is the biggest resistance as of right now. Above 30, we can see potentially 33, 35, 36, and maybe even 40, right? And so I'll show you here the biggest levels of resistance at the moment. And that's going to be really useful because depending, like if I am doing a short-term swing trade, I have to be aware of these levels and maybe start taking some money off the table so I don't get rejected and maybe it draws back down to break even or whatever. All right, so that's that. That's Gacktron. Really, really simple. Used for key levels. Used for price target projections. Okay. Now, when it comes to the indicators that we're using, indicators. What indicators am I using? Okay, there's a couple here that I like to use, and only a couple because as you saw, Gacktron is forward-looking. Once you go into forward-looking tools, it's hard to revert back to lagging indicators. All indicators are laggers. It doesn't mean that they're all bad. It just means that you have to wait for a whole time frame to finish before it can be even useful. But by then, the market doesn't care about what happened an hour ago or a day ago or a week ago. It only cares about the future price of from here until later in the future. That's why Gacktron is so powerful because it's about looking forward. And so indicators like supply and demand and ICT and order blocks, I used to use those, but I've come to find out they're unreliable because then you're like trying to figure out like, well, why did it slice through that? Why did it do that? So I'm not a big fan of using indicators in general, but there are a couple I will make an exception for. One is volume. Volume is a really powerful indicator, okay? Let's open that up. And so this lets me know, the way we use volume here is really simple. Like you can figure out if the the price movement of a stock, is it being justified with a volume? So you can see here with SBET on this daily time frame, as it's rising, there's a lot of volume increase. So this just lets me know that this move to the upside is being supported. There's no slowing it down at the moment. So there's no reason for me to get out as of right now. It hasn't been validated. It hasn't gone below NTrans. It's still above. It's trying to get above PTrans at the moment. As of right now, right, the data is changing a little bit, but the move is strong. So I like volume. Volume is really good to figure it out. If price is going, like in this case, as it was coming down, yes, there's a lot of selling pressure, but you saw that the more went down, sellers were getting exhausted, right? So that's how we use volume. Okay. So you can figure that out. We like volume a lot. The next one that I'll make an exception for is VWAP. VWAP is another one that I like a lot for intraday trading. Let's see if we can pull that one up, VWAP. And I'll give you another one that I'm currently testing, but I'm not 100% confident. I'm always open to like figuring out what other tools what other indicators I can use, but I really try to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want to rely too much on backward looking indicators. All right, so VWAP is one that I really do like when it comes to intraday trading. Clearly, it's super easy to use, right? If price is below VWAP, then there's not enough buying pressure intraday, and if it's above VWAP, there's enough buying pressure to the upside. And then it's just trying to figure out like right now, you can see here that I try to get above VWAP on the hourly. It can't does, and also PTrans is at this level, making it very a strong thesis. Like if you were to look into getting into a position now, maybe right now it's not the best time because it can't even do two of those things, right? PTrans level, and then it can't get above VWAP, so it might not be the best trade to go long as of right now. Maybe later in the future. All right, another one that I'm looking at is also, I think it's called. Now this one I'm not 100% sure on it, but I'll put it out there. The visible range volume profile. This one is interesting, but I don't know enough about it for me to make a proper like decision on it, whether I'm good at it or not. Let's see, input volume. I see it a lot on I don't even know what these lines are. Where's all this? No. Okay. So in theory, what this shows is how much volume activity there is, not based on candlestick, but based on volume price. So you can see the shift on the right-hand side. And this can be interesting to try and interpret. But in theory, it's like when you see these type of gaps here, these kind of gaps, it should be easy for price to kind of slice through it. So the next level of support isn't until 25 area for SBET in theory, right? I think I don't not a fan of this on short-term timeframes, but maybe for daily and weekly is what I've been trying to test it out on a lot. So for example, like we know that right now 27 is going to be a hard spot, as it's been like this for a while now. And if it does break above it, the next level of resistance won't be somewhere around like 33 area. So it's not something that I would use to make price targets. I would just use it as in like, okay, this zone, we may start seeing a lot of selling pressure, and then try to see if implied volatility, or I would see if Gextron's expected moves kind of lines up with that. If expected move is greater than that, then I will always lean towards Gextron a lot more because it's based on implied volatility. But you can see that above this level, like there is no resistance. It kind of goes as high as possible to the next highs. That's why we like SBET. So not one that I would recommend yet. I'm not 100% sure on this, but you could try it out and see what happens. I'm actually gonna, was it VRVP? Still testing. And you should always be doing this, right? Anytime you're trying stuff out, don't rely on it heavily. Just test it out, see how it plays into your strategy, and see if it works. Cool. These are all the tools that we use. The charting tools, the brokerages, Gaxtron, for sure, is definitely the one that we rely on the most. And the indicators that we rely on, volume, VWAP, and we're testing VRVP. Let's say if you have any questions about any other tools or you want me to take a look at them, drop them in the comments section down below. If you want to trade with me and my team and catch these kind of trades like SBET and MU and stuff, I'll put a couple links in the description box, and I'll see you in the next one.